Welcome to Micro Wisdom. I haven't really done much on YouTube. I've been mostly focusing on Instagram. It's actually much more interesting to go into long form content because it's a time where you can actually express and speak about topics full length. I wanted to speak about loyalty. Loyalty is a big problem today, especially in the Western world, between men and women. It's the reason why birth rates are down. It has been instigated, mind you. These are things that have been programmed into the environment to decrease loyalty. It's called divide and conquer. And one of the first ways of dividing people is to disintegrate their loyalty to one another. What you'll find is outside of business, people are less trusting of one another, especially when it comes to relationships. Let's look at loyalty and let's look at the structure of loyalty, because the thing is, as a man, we are more likely to invest if we know the other person is going to be loyal. We know that a dog is going to be loyal to us and will stand by our side regardless of our discrepancies. That's really what we want to know. Will someone be able to look at us and see us for who we really are and stand by us and be loyal all the way through? But with the current environment, and especially with things like Instagram and all kinds of different social media, it does look like women are always moving on to the next best thing. You know, it's always this, then it's that, then it's this, then it's that. And in the back of our minds, we know, right, it's a bit hard for a woman then to be loyal. So then we're like, we're not too sure, because we're seeing the same images ahead as well. But we still want to have sexual relationships with women. So of course, we're going to have these moments. Invite a woman out for dinner, invite her out for a trip. You're going to date her for a little while, but always in the back of your mind, keeping something back. And that's because you're aware that there are other stimuli that could be infecting the environment and affecting her, where you possibly may not be able to control the whole situation. Let's be honest, guys, we like to control, whether you like it or not. You're not going to say this out in the open, so I'm speaking it for you guys. It's going to be very difficult for you to see where you can actually place your loyalty, because in a way you want to guarantee that you can get it back. And that's fair enough. Now, other people outside, especially, these modern women feminists will say, oh my God, you want to control loyalty. Well, yes, it's your life. Of course, why not try to control the outcome as much as you possibly can? Even having a house, for example, which has 4 walls and a door, that's an area of control. You can't just walk past the wall. It's there to keep people in, and people that are not invited meant to stay outside. And if they're invited, they must come through the door. If you leave, you must go through the door. Man is supposed to control. Well, who comes inside the house? That's the wife. She comes in. Oh, those are the kids. That's the grandma. She can come in. You, I don't know you. You stay outside. That's an element of control. You're not leaving it all up to chance, are you? So this is where we have to really get real. This is what we really want at the depths of our psyche when it comes to relationships. But the thing is, the control can't be exerted fully on the surface, because then it means that you don't really have control if you have to exert it, or if you have to say all the time, I'm in control, I'm in control, I'm in control, or I want to control. So we can't say it on the surface, but this is what we want. So how do we bridge these two areas together? Well, we have to understand that control comes from the unseen. It has to be subtle. And you have to also understand that's what everyone else wants around you. Everyone else wants you to control yourself. Everyone also wants you to control the environment that you walk into, because you being a man, you're the one that's supposed to make everything a lot safer. So if anyone's trying to sell you against having control, they're essentially asking you to open up your door, to knock down the walls of your house, to be able to walk in and out and trample across everything that you've built in your house, everything you've cleaned up and you've put in good order. They want to come in and trample across it. Deep down, you don't even want that. No, of course not. There has to be order in your household. Everything has to be in order and kept tidy, because you understand, if those walls come down, your household could be run ragged. It'll be all over the place. All the glass is knocked over. The sofa will be messy. Nothing will be in its place. And your house will be brought into disrepute. How do we maintain control? How do we gain control? How do we keep the control? Like I said, guys, this is not a conversation we're having between women, man to man. It's all about men. And this is where we have to be real. Well, first of all, it starts off by actually understanding that the loyalty between man and a woman is actually a biochemical reaction. This can actually take place even just before you have sex with a woman, because sometimes the biochemical reactions can be set off from a spiritual force. But you see, a woman has to be clean enough to be able to receive. So for example, if a woman has been in the presence of dealing with a number of different men, which is what a lot of you guys have been going through in the Western world, this one and this one and this one, she's had an insertion of different programs, because each of those different men have been different characters, different ages, maybe even different cultures. That programming is probably going to stand in the way of her programming, because she's actually built to be a receiver of a male's program, to then program the kids the way the man wants the kids to be. It's a very difficult topic to actually understand, guys, but this is the truth, right? And this is what you're here to actually understand, yeah? Essentially what I'm saying is, it's very, very difficult then for these types of women to be loyal because of the reactions that have taken place before her actual original programming. She has other male programs in front of her, and those programs, she may not be fully aware, because she's started to learn about sexual intercourse as something to just be like a you only live once, let's just have fun, and she's unaware. Yeah, but these programs are running in the background, in the unseen, and these programs will have an effect on her psyche and the way she's moving through life. And it's going to be very, very difficult for her to biologically react fully with you. She could take on your program, but your program has to get through all of the others that are there. This is why it's actually very difficult now in the modern age for you to have control of the situation with modern women. You have to go through all of that to gain the woman's loyalty. So it's not about what someone says or what they really want. It's about the biochemical reactions. Yeah, so even if the woman says that she may want to be loyal, how could she possibly be if she's also not being loyal to herself in some ways? It's going to be very difficult. Not about what they say. The biochemistry makes up the physique and then leads to the mentality. On the surface, we already know this. Modern women, in some form, cannot be trusted. Even though, for example, it is us guys. We are the ones who have formed these modern women. And obviously, as I mentioned, there are outside influencers who have put these things in place, who sold sexual liberation, sexual freedom, knowing that this type of thing would happen. And obviously, if you separate man and woman, now you can start selling them things individually because they're in pain. There's a lot more things you can sell to the man. Drugs, alcohol, even more sex you can sell to that guy. But without the man's protection, you can sell the same things to the woman. Drugs, alcohol, sex. You need more and more things because now you need to attract more and more men. Maybe you won't get that one, but you need to get the other one and then the other one. So you need more and more and more. And so, of course, there are going to be certain people and organizations that will benefit from it. And those people who benefit, they're selling the disintegration of what they value. They know how powerful it is and they don't want you to have it. That's it. Because then they can create a gap. So we know this is a problem with modern women. So we have to say then logically, well, we're not supposed to go for modern women. So what are we supposed to do? Well, that means then at some level, we must become more of a traditional man. What is that? I class traditional man as being the primal man, the first man. Well, logically, we have to look at it and go, well, how did we all get here? Well, the first people who built first civilizations, and they probably were very simple civilizations between man and woman. Whatever they did at the beginning, it obviously worked because people had to stay together. They had to stay together in communities. They had to go and hunt together. So whatever they did at that time was correct. Yeah, we have to say that. How would we have got here? What I've looked at is through me and inside my DNA, or my ancestors asked me to. Go back inside, Mike. Stop looking at the books. Go inside. Inside your DNA is the original book. Once you go back inside, and sometimes these things are difficult because, you're thinking on the outside, oh my God, everything that was very primal was very simple. And we confuse simplicity with stupid. Well, maybe God made things really simple for us because human beings can be stupid, but simple things are easy to understand. The world gets a lot more complicated. I think a lot of us, in some ways, are always vying for more simplicity. In fact, a lot of the things that we're building now is to bring more simplicity into our lives. Isn't that what AI is for? Efficiency, 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 more simple life, less complexity in the life. Getting back to this point, whatever the ancestors did, it worked. And so we have to become the original traditional man. And by becoming the original traditional man, who was able to then connect with a clean woman, because they were clean at the time, the fathers would protect the daughters and only give them to the guys who were able to hunt well. And so the father understood by being the barrier, the house with the wall and the doors, he was protecting his house with his daughter inside, but he would let the right man come in. And the man knew what he was getting, which was a fresh, clean slate that was programmed well by the father and the mother, and then he was able to program her. So by then connecting with her, he would be able to form a biochemical reaction of loyalty because she can receive his program cleanly, which means that she's going to listen to what he says, follow his instruction, and follow his way of life, because it's a biochemical reaction. And when you understand it's a biochemical reaction, a blockchain of events that's happening inside, then you know it's something that you can actually rely on. She's not going anywhere because she is fully connected to you. And now you can pour in your investment, knowing there's a solid base to actually pour into. There is some security there for you, as you like to have with your other securities. There are some regulations that protect your investments. You understand? We don't like to invest into areas where maybe there's no regulation, it's just wild, no security, no good reputation behind the bank that we're dealing with. Come on now, it's the same thing. The original man understood the blockchain of events that was happening, which meant that he was getting a guarantee. Nowadays, we don't know that we're getting a guarantee because subconsciously we understand that we can't make these biochemical reactions become that traditional man again. We go back to that basic because our bodies and our DNA are throwing out frequencies, because on the end of the DNA, you have what's called telomeres and they bounce in frequencies left, right, and center. Yeah, you're like a radio everywhere you go. It's going to want to attract in the women who are also coming from that primal coding. So because you do this work in yourself, it means really, you're not really searching out as such, but the search and the attract is a lot easier because of the radio transmissions that are taking place. Yeah, so everyone's got radio transmissions. It's aura, energy, whatever you want to call it. Radio transmissions. It's giving and receiving all the time. But if you've got some of your traditional parts of yourself cut off, it won't be able to transmit out. Yeah, so a lot of people aren't able to transmit these things out. They're operating on the surface. They're trying to be like somebody else. Yeah. They're trying to be like an Andrew Tate or whatever. The woman's trying to read through, can't read this guy through, like can't read the transmission properly. Like that's not his real transmission. Might as well use him or something. Or I'm just not going to be attracted to this guy. That's not him. You see, but when you can go back to pre-traditions, that means that you've opened up the spectrum where the woman can actually now read through you and read who you really are. And now you can actually start to transact with these types of women who can read you for who you are. But the women who can also read you for who you are, they also have a very clear screening. They can actually now connect with you. You can connect with them. And a woman that has a clear screening. Now, this may be, we're not talking about all women being virgins. That might not be the case for all of you to have virgins. But I would say that women have had no more than 3 or 4 boyfriends are still able to have clear screening as long as they're still very young. I think up to the age of about 26, 27 on the verge, but no more than 4. And with that, they can receive your transmission. Anything more than that is very difficult for that woman to have clear screening. So then the wrong ones will be trying to find you. And it's very, very difficult for you to pick up the ones who've got clear screening if you don't go back to that traditional sense of your own self. So modern age techniques don't really cut it. You can still get married, of course, but if you're in the Western world, the likelihood is you're going to probably pair up with someone else who has a very high body count. Now, it may work at the very beginning. Everything could be very hunky-dory. Everyone wants to make it work because you're putting in a lot of effort. But when things calm down and the veils are shown more, right, because you've probably been using a lot of surface techniques to show each other how great that you are. But the real life starts to come to hand and you start to see the people for who they really are. Day to day. That's when the problems set in because you started from the surface. Then the unraveling happens. And when you unravel, the woman unravels, you get to see her, and then you start to see that high body count behavior. No, 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 no. She doesn't want to listen. Her head's getting turned left, right, and center. Yeah, she's got to play the game. To get you, she needs to have security, you see. Again, these are the things that you're kind of worried about. You didn't really understand, so I'm making it very clear. This is what's happening underneath the surface. But you going back to that traditional, pre-traditional way of self-clearance and full transmission of the original self. And now you can transmit with women who've got that clean slate, original self. Now you can come together. Now the biochemical reaction can take place spiritually as well, because now you can enter into her mind, and that energy that enters into her mind then goes into her cells. See, there's still a biochemical reaction, you see, guys? Spirit to physique. You can affect her mind, and then you can affect how she feels about herself, herself. Now you're in her body. The process starts before sex, but you have to be able to be in a position to transmit to these types of women, and then you can attract them in and then form the biochemical reaction, mind into body. Now you've got your hook in already. So this is the process of control, how it starts at the very beginning. And obviously, once now you can get a woman to really listen to you and hear you, really absorb your thoughts into her clean body, her clean screening. Now you can invest more and more and more of your words, of your affection, of your skills, of your knowledge, including sexual intercourse. Yes, I'm thinking now that you understand what I am doing. It's very difficult though for a lot of people to even look at things like this. But like I said, it all comes from the man. These are things that you didn't know. We think that always that everything that's modern is a progression. So we are looking at it and saying that if this is the modern times, then this is the best that we've ever had it. But we are living in a dualistic world, which does mean things are two-sided. So as it gets better, there are always other things that are going to get worse at the same time. If we can balance having inside of ourselves these prehistoric traditions of mankind and be on the front of technology, that's where the modern man is the true master. You see, he's going to master business and all those other things, but he's also going to master women, just like his ancestors did thousands of years ago. You get it now. And this is what we help men do. So if this has really helped you a lot, and I'm sure it has, and you understand that I'm a G in this game, obviously, you can write some comments below. But more importantly, because it's your life and your bloodline and all of that, and you do want that hot woman to be loyal to you, yes, you can have a family, let's be honest. You want to control the situation. Yeah, let's get to the point now. Follow along and everything like that, and we'll do the work with you for sure. We'll help you out. See you later.